Hey everyone, it's Jas. You're listening to Giving Up the Ghost. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. The more the merrier. Me and Sher, we're fresh off of MB Podfest that happened at the Park Theatre yesterday. What a wonderful experience. We met our brothers and sisters in combat, which is aka local Winnipeg podcasting. We met some really incredible people, shared a lot of good ideas, got to know people. Hopefully we get to know them more. A huge thank you to the creators and organizers of MB Podfest, Sam, Stefan, and third gentleman, I can't remember his name. I'm sure we will meet him and get to know him much better as well. Otherwise, other shows that we interacted with, like shout out and say hello to Sean Geek, Witch Police Radio, The Real Debaters, Traveling Minds, Bloviators, I have not been drinking tonight, Not Yet Named Podcast, This Isn't Babysitting Podcast, Primarily Critical.com Podcast, Two Black Geeks, Beaver Does Movies, and of course the fabulous, the gorgeous, stoned? Anyway, the Two Baked Girls. You girls are awesome. We love you guys. We gotta do something in the future together. We bring the tequila, you bring the devil's lettuce. In any event, it was a fabulous experience. We thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. Can't wait for next year. And the bigger and the better it comes, right? So, and also want to wish my fabulous, beautiful, talented, creative, lovely pod partner a belated happy 50th birthday, Sher. Nice big wet one for you. Had to use the sound machine. On a somber note, today's episode will be a reissue of episode 11. As some of you may know from following us on all the social media, my mother-in-law, Margaret Kentner, had passed away over the weekend, and we were pretty shocked, saddened, confused. It's been quite the weekend. So, in tribute to her, a fabulous lady, so smart, so smart, pivotal in business community in Winnipeg and Manitoba. She loved what she did. She loved people. She loved talking to people, learning about things, going places, seeing things. She was just all around a good person, a sweet person. I admired her greatly. I loved her like a mother, and I liked her better than my own mother. And Margaret, wherever you are, Godspeed. We'll see you in the next life. So in saying that, please enjoy the reissue of our episode with our interview with Margaret Kentner at the Grand Bazaar in Stonewall, Manitoba. Love you, peace out, and remember, as always, live every day like it is your last, but never ever give up the ghost. Welcome back. What episode is this, Sher?
I don't know. What I actually don't even know now.
Losing track.
9, 8,
7, 6.
I don't know.
5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
I've actually lost count. I seriously have at this point.
Yeah, we're doing so well here. I think this is recorded it is episode 9.
9 could be.
Could be 10 because the Valentine's episode
Special, yes.
was 7.
2 at my place.
5A. Yeah.
Don't know.
So
it's a few anyway.
It's a few anyway.
Yes.
So I'm Jas.
And it's Cher.
And you are with Giving Up the Ghost. And we are on location. This is field trip day.
Yeah, we're not at home.
Woohoo!
We're out of the pod lounge.
Yeah. They left the gate open and we ran, man.
We
ran. We are in sunny Stonewall, Manitoba, and we are sitting with the infamous Margaret Kentner, the proprietor of the Grand Bazaar, located at
310 Main Street, and I think that's flattering, that introduction.
Oh my God, there is not enough praise.
No,
if I could get on my knees and bow right now, I would. But then she'd just say, get
You
off.
can't see me blushing, can you? No, okay, all right, we're fine.
So, Margaret has had quite the extensive entrepreneur career within the Winnipeg landscape and surrounding areas. And today we are here to talk with her about her experiences as she had owned and ran the Nunnery from
St. Francois Xavier. in Manitoba here.
Right, in St. Francois.
Yeah.
From what time period?
It's I owned it from about 1991 until 2000, close to 2000.
Okay.
So it ran a little bit later than that. But I did originally own it sooner than that because Juliette Renier had purchased the convent from the nuns. The Grey Nuns were there. It was the second oldest Grey Nuns convent in Manitoba.
Nice.
And it was built in 1850, the original convent. Now, others burned down, unfortunately.
Right.
They were quite gorgeous.
Right.
Burned down as some
Because of
older
the grave,
buildings
because
were
of the
wont to
graveyard.
do.
The graveyard. We
Graveyard.
had this discussion because I can't
Yes.
find a lot of my ancestors because the markers were all wood and the
Wooden,
grass
yes.
fires would wipe
Wooden
it out.
and prairie fires burned them out.
Yeah,
And
with the nunnery probably.
yes.
too.
Right.
And then there was a period of some vandalism there, so they did restore some of the older gravestones that they could and put them up, restore them and put them up. But several of them were lost also for various reasons. And then, before the main Trans-Canada was built, there was often flooding on that big meander.
The oxbow there, kind
The
of.
oxbow there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's lots of floods there over the years.
Yeah.
So until the dam was built at Portage de Prairie. So it suffered a lot for various reasons there. But,
Right.
yeah.
Much damage and everything.
And then you developed and you built. I just want to give you credit where credit is due. You're responsible for a touch of class on Academy, correct?
Yes, Academy Road.
And that was your
Yes.
store. How long did you have that for?
About, let me see, 13 years.
13
Oh,
years.
wow.
Wow.
Right.
And then
Yes.
from there, then you built the Medicine Rock Cafe.
Right.
in St.
Also
Francis.
on an oxbow of the river there.
Yeah.
in St.
Beautiful
Francis area.
building. That was such
Yeah.
a beautiful restaurant. What a visionary. Like, what an idea.
Right.
And tell me, where did you get the name from Medicine Rock? I was kind of waffling back and forth. I remember you told me the story before, but how did that name come to be for Medicine Rock?
The name is really not exactly very exciting itself because Henny, the man I live with, Henny Van Gerwen, and it's also
My father-in-law.
Jasmine's father-in-law. We were traveling in the States heading towards Central America, and we came across somewhere in the Midwest this great sign on a building that said Medicine Rock Cafe. I thought, isn't that a great name? So then we came back to Manitoba here, and I knew...
You drove all the way down there too,
Yeah,
right?
we did.
Wow.
Yes. And so we got back here, and I owned the great big 4x4 house where it was Cuthbert Grant's original administrative center.
Okay.
The big Richard
that
house
I didn't
right
know.
there. Yes.
Okay.
Which is still there today, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, cool.
Interesting.
And so I purchased that already. So I set about renovating that and then proceeded to rent it out and so on. But I kept looking at, as we were renovating, I kept looking at the top window and thinking, oh, wouldn't this property on the river there, the oxbow of the river, not the
Right.
flowing river, because in the 1930s, that big meander was cut off to make a make-work project for the 30s.
Okay.
So it meant also that great big curve in the river there would again flood that part of the highway, the old highway
right.
there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they had cut that off in the 30s. So anyway, that property there, a couple of acres right on the water, they just look so beautiful. Wouldn't that be great for a cafe? So
Perfect.
that's how it started from there. But John and Linda Aiken lived in Eli.
Okay.
And John, whom I know, used to do some physical work for me, like advertising and so on, and that kind of thing. So he told me this story, and I don't really want to hear it or not, because...
No, go.
No, yeah,
We're
sure.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love your stories.
So anyway, John
and
was...
I'm not going to swear today.
No.
So John was a young man working for Eli for a farmer, and he was out plowing the fields at like midnight. So all of a sudden, he saw this great big huge stone in the field,
Okay.
and he went, "That can't be. I must be asleep, or I must be whatever." And then as he got closer, these white figures emerged by the rock, the great big stone.
Oh my
And he
God.
went, "Oh my God! I must be
Hallucinating.
hallucinating."
right.
Yeah, yeah.
It
whatever.
worked, yeah.
So he left because he didn't know what was happening. He thought he was awake. He was because
Right.
he was driving
Yeah,
his tractor.
Right.
So he left, and then he went back in the morning, and there was no stone.
Oh.
So
Do you think it was a vision
no,
of...
what happened is he had told the farmer in between about this big rock in his field. He got back there later in the morning.
Okay.
He told this farmer in the early morning about this big rock sitting in the field. He said, "You're crazy. There's no big rock in the middle of the field." So I guess the farmer went out early and looked, and sure enough, was this great big rock in the
really?
field.
Wow.
So he got his other helpers to move the rock.
Oh, poor guy.
No.
On him? Like, so then that way he thought for sure he was hooped.
Yes,
oh,
but
my
he
God.
had their word that there was one there, you see.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Because, so anyway.
But the white figures, that's
So
interesting.
apparently, according to John, he thinks that the rock went to the dump, the Eli dump. And he looked and looked and never found the stone.
Find it.
Never found the stone. So, having seen that great sign on a restaurant in the Midwest, and then coupled with John's story about this rock in the field that never was there, or he saw there and he saw these white people by the rock. So I called it the Medicine Rock.
Okay.
Oh, well, hey.
Interesting.
That's how
Very
that
nice.
came about.
Very cool.
So.
I was hoping you were going to tell me that was the rock. Damn it.
Damn it.
So, because I remember the rock story.
Sure.
So you saw the great big granite rock by the sign?
Yes.
Okay, so I was driving up north of where we lived at the time near Marquette, and there was this huge granite rock on, like, it was on the road allowance, if you know what a road allowance is. And the farmer, so I contacted the farmer who I thought owned that, and he said, "Oh, please take it away. I said, please just take it away. The municipality wants me. It's so big."
Oh, really?
So I had Freddie the mover, or whatever, Smitty the mover, come to look to move this rock, to take it to the property, see, by the river, so it could be my medicine rock.
Wow.
So, anyway, he wouldn't touch it.
Oh,
he said that
It
thing
probably
weighs
8 tons.
friggin' tons. Sorry.
Yeah,
Friggin'
no,
tons.
that's fine. No.
Swear away.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's what he said.
Really?
This rock weighs 8. And
If you don't swear during our podcast, I'm going to insert swears after that. I swear to God I will.
All right. Friggin' rock weighs a ton.
Yeah.
So anyway, the only people who would move it were Hutterites.
Okay.
So
The whole
I
colony
called-
probably
of
had to
course,
move it, though.
industrious.
Yeah.
So they brought the rock. Complete with the women who brought us fresh cinnamon buns and buns.
All the
and
wonderful
it was
baking.
wonderful.
Lovely.
They brought it. Afterwards, it had bent their flatbed. It
Oh,
seriously
really?
had bent their flatbed.
I remember you told me
Yes,
that
it was
story.
that
That's
heavy.
right.
That's crazy.
Whoopsies.
Okay, how the heck did they move it?
Sorry.
Great difficulty.
Wow,
Yeah.
manpower or what?
I don't
Sorry.
know. All I knew was I was waiting and they brought it. So,
Wow.
so it doesn't look so big now because it was so heavy. It actually sat in the soft.
Oh,
that was
sure.
actually a riverbank. So
Yeah.
it was
sunk
still
away?
very wet. And
Oh.
there was gates to allow water into that oxbow or not. But it was still very damp and soft, muddy,
sure, yes.
Manitoba soil there by the
Oh, yeah.
riverbank. So it has sank some into the ground, but it was a very big rock.
Wow.
So that's the story of the Medicine Rock, complete with white people who disappeared.
Cool.
John.
Well, maybe that was like the white horse or something, or who knows, right?
Very cool, though.
John
Or
Swear, and he's
aliens,
not given
I don't
to this John,
No,
whom I know was not given to, but a lot of the older, now he wasn't old at that time, but a lot of the older French people, you know, they understood stories.
Of course.
As we consider stories.
And I mean, it could have been
stories.
there isn't that many big rocks just sort of spattered around Manitoba, right?
No.
Like, it could be like a marker for somebody.
I was just going to say,
know,
maybe
It
it
was in the
was.
middle of a
travelers.
field that had been plowed before, cultivated before. So.
Right.
So maybe
Weird,
maybe that was a way for people to meet, right? Like
maybe
a
at the
marker,
big rock
like
could
somewhere,
be,
right?
meet with the big rock. Yeah.
I
Or it
mean,
could
big
have-
old trees
it could have
disappear.
been on property of a buffalo wallow. Do you know what a buffalo wallow is?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know.
Okay, so when buffalo roamed the prairies in great amount, we killed them all off. So
As white people do.
sweet people do. There used to be great big stones somewhere.
Yeah.
So the buffalo would congregate to scratch.
Oh, yeah.
So the more they stomped and scratched or
Kefir,
whatever,
yeah.
they dug hollows in the ground around a buffalo wall. So it usually became wet, like many sloughs,
Yeah.
because they didn't have anywhere to go and the rain just came and sat.
Oh, yeah.
So these were called buffalo wallows.
Okay.
And then they would
Go
also
and
maybe
scratch and itch and
surely roll
why
in
not?
the mud eventually.
Oh, absolutely,
and
yeah. Well.
So those were called, actually our farm in the Boiseville area had one on it.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Which I think my nephew now has destroyed.
Oh. Was that James?
Brian.
Brian.
Oh,
Way to go, Brian.
There you go, Brian.
If you're listening.
to this, bad boy. Bad boy.
Look what you've
Oh.
done,
I
Brian.
know.
Anyway.
So while
just
I was
kidding.
at the
very
Medicine
cool, though.
Rock, one of the Reniers had helped me build the Medicine Rock. So his aunt, Juliette Renier, who had purchased the convent from the Grey Nuns, she owned the convent, but she had Alzheimer's. So pretty soon they had to move her out of there. So he said
So
it
she
was
was
for
living
sale.
in it, like she bought
was
to
living
live
in it.
Oh, really?
She
For how long did you live there?
She was more exciting than that.
Oh, really?
She ran a hair salon out of it.
Oh, really?
But she never.
That's so odd.
She never destroyed hardly anything in the convent.
Yeah.
Because she ran it like a small rental
Oh,
space.
wait a second. She was in the right-hand side, correct?
Mm-hmm. She was in the chapel. She lived in the chapel.
Okay.
She lived in the chapel.
She lived in the chapel.
Yeah.
And the original...